Doing some work in the machine shop today. Got too many engines tore apart, so we gotta get some put back together. There's the big block. We're not working on that unit today. We're working on these small block heads. So these are the 7,500 RPM small block heads. These are a GM casting. They're called the Phase 2 bow tie head, 64 cc chambers, angle plugs. These were a real nice head back in the 90s. These have a real nice valve train setup in them. Why we're working on these today is when we did a leak down test on that small block, we found that there was a lot of cylinder leakage out of the exhaust. With that much cylinder leakage comes pretty big loss of power. When you're losing that much air out the valves, could be using it to make some more power. So today we're going to be going over the whole process of just tearing these heads down and getting them back to where they need to be. Some of these valves are going to need to be cut to get a good seal so we don't lose all that air out the exhaust. And we're going to check the valve springs, make sure those are all good. These were assembled back in, I don't know, probably 20-ish years ago, so very possible we have some weak valve springs. Break a valve spring, that's a bad deal. You're probably looking at a motor at that point because your valve's going to be ejected out of the head-o. We're going to go ahead and, like I said, tear these down, do a rough cleanup, put them in the hot tank, and then once that's done, we can get a better look at what these things are really going to need. Well, we got all the valves out, and looking at the valves, I mean, you can see there's quite a bit of rust built up, a little bit on the sealing surface of the valves, but if we look at the cylinder head itself, this is one of the 60% leakers, and you can kind of see there's a ton of rust in there. So this motor sat for, I don't know, do some quick math here, over a year after it was pulled out of the truck, and all the rocker arms were still attached to it. So some of the valves were open. Weird that it'd be all exhaust valves, which probably isn't the case, but there could have been some moisture that got in there from sitting. And then even before this thing went into the truck it was in, it sat for a while too. So who's to say that could be a contributing factor? And you know, there could be a lot of things that come into play, but rust there's a big thing. We need to get that fixed, so all these valves and seats will get cut, and those will get looking brand new, performing brand new. And I'm just gonna finish stripping these heads down. I'm gonna clean up the chambers just a little bit before they go in the hot tank that's warming up right now. Pull these guide plates off. Valve seals, we'll put new valve seals in it. The guides felt pretty good. Take some measurements on those, see if we need to do anything with the guides, but it's about what I expected to find. We're gonna check these for cracks too with the Magnaflux, and yeah, hopefully have these things done today. Maybe, maybe not. Well, this is one of my favorite tools in the shop. This is the hot tank. So we've got our heads and our valve springs and all other miscellaneous stuff. Guide plates for the push rods, all in this little bin here. And inside this tank is a bunch of hot solvent that's gonna spray all over the cylinder heads and other parts there and get it all cleaned up. So this tray is gonna spin when the door's closed. Fluid's gonna shoot at it through the side and get them all cleaned up. We're gonna probably run this for 20 minutes or so, and these things will come out looking really good. So this is phase 1 wash, and then prior to final assembly, they'll get washed one more time to make sure everything is clean, all the metal pieces are out of there from refinishing the surfaces and stuff like that, and they're gonna look really good. So while this is running, I'm gonna clean up the valves and I guess take a look at how those look. Well, I ran the valves through the parts washer and then blasted them, and unfortunately a couple bad pieces of news here. So number one, A lot of these exhaust valves are in pretty rough shape, very pitted on the back. And number two, these aren't actually titanium valves, so they did feel kind of heavy when I took them out. And yeah, kind of got duped on this deal, I guess. So if you look at this one, this intake valve, this is a pretty much stock style valve compared to the other ones. It's got the second groove cut in it. So that's unfortunate. To make this right, I mean, we're gonna need new valves. So crazy to me that this engine saw that much abuse with stock valve. But hey, is what it is. Pretty crazy, yeah, that it held up to that stuff. But we're about doing this right, so gonna have to order some valves. I don't think we're gonna opt for titanium, but maybe. Probably just end up putting a nice stainless valve in. But unfortunately, this project isn't gonna be done today. We're gonna have to get some parts ordered and wait till those show up to complete it. But there's still other stuff we can get done today in preparation for those parts showing up. We can inspect the heads, can magnaflux them, make sure there's no cracks, cut the seats, all sorts of fun stuff. We'll move on to that. Hot tank's running right now, cleaning the heads up, and we'll see what they look like when they come out of there. The heads are fresh out the tank, so we got them all rinsed off and dried off, and they cleaned up very good. This is a really good spot to show you how good that hot tank does. There's no oil residue or anything, just nice clean surface now. But the hot tank doesn't remove rust, so I'm gonna throw these in the blaster and try to clean them up a little bit more and do a little bit better job of cleaning up the chambers, so when we magnaflux it, we can get an accurate result, see if there's any cracks or not, because with some carbon in there, that can kind of impact what the machine shows for results. So we'll clean these up a little bit more with the blaster and then head to the magnaflux. All right, so we got the heads all cleaned up and we're back at the magnaflux station. So we're checking for cracks, gonna see if we can see anything inside the chambers. That's a common area that you'll see cracks in the cylinder head. And so we're putting a little bit of a charge into the cylinder head via these jobs right here. And it's called magnaflux. It's essentially magnetizing the cylinder head. So we're gonna charge them up for a little bit. And once we're done with that, we're gonna pull these off, spray a solvent on there. That's gonna show up with a black light if there's any cracks. And if there are any cracks, we'll be able to see them kind of formed with the black light. So we can't really do a great video of this because we need it to be dark to utilize the black light, but you get the picture. We already did this one. This one's clean, so we're just gonna pop the other one in there quick and see what we can see there. Hopefully it's good, and then we'll get on to cutting the valve seats and some other fun stuff while we wait for valve. All right, we're back after a while. We've got some new parts here. So these are our new stainless intake valves. You can see this is a pretty nice piece compared to those old junkers. This one's undercut, allows a little bit more flow. You can see the diameter there is a little bit smaller, the part that sticks in the runner. Exhaust valve, same deal, 1.6 exhaust valve, 2055 intake valve. This already has the valve seats cut in it. Turned out very nice. We've got the other head over here. This one has not been cut yet. You can see a lot of the pitting is still present in this one. Yuck, not good, not gonna seal. But yeah, this one's all fixed up, ready to do some cutting. And we'll go through that and show you how it's going. So these heads got a 3-angle valve job. We're gonna put the valves in the valve grinding machine, even though they're new, and just make sure everything's good with those. You never know with parts these days. You can get stuff brand new out of the box that isn't cut right or isn't machined or manufactured right. So always do that, make sure the stuff's good, make sure it's what it's supposed to be. And after that, we need to resurface the deck surface on these heads and then wash everything up and put them together and they'll be done. So we'll show you that right now. Well, we got the heads all done. Unfortunately, didn't get any video of that, but here's a picture of a block getting resurfaced, and it's the same concept. It's just shaving a layer off the top. it's pretty much the same thing for a cylinder head, just a different fixture. So check these things out though. They turned out really nice. Yep, there they are. So all new valves, valve job, resurfaced. Maybe we cleaned up some stuff in the ports, you know. We'll talk about that later. New valve springs, titanium retainers, we had those on there. All cleaned up, ready to go, ready to be bolted on. These things got the clean bill of health now that we got all that old junk out of there. So super excited to get these things bolted on and see what that thing's gonna do. So that's gonna do it for this video. These things are going on soon. The small block's going back together, and then the whole engine's gonna be coming over here, and we're gonna put it on the dyno and see what it does. I think it's gonna make pretty good numbers for what it is, but the dyno will tell. So appreciate your support in this matter, and we'll see you in a couple days.